Hello, welcome to another edition of Let's Build a Sim. And today we're going to be doing, well, we're going to make this telephone here out of mesh, because I said I was going to do some stuff on mesh. So here we are. And just to show you how cool mesh can be, this train is mesh. I made it out of mesh. And I don't know about you, but it's really kind of nice. And this is what you can do if you learn to use mesh. And yeah, you can build those kind of things. So we'll start small. We'll start with this little telephone. Turnaround avatar. Oh well, anyhow. So I'll meet you inside the blender and we can go from there. Be back in a second. Okay, welcome to inside of Blender. This is Blender 2.63 and there's a new one out, but I haven't switched yet. Anyhow, so we're making our telephone. I'm going to make it in two parts with a receiver, so that if you want to animate the receiver, then you can have someone walking around with it in opensim. So here we go. We're going to add our cube. Shift A, add our cube. This is going to be the base. Please bear with me. I haven't done a tutorial for a while. So hopefully it's not too terribly bad. Now, this first part is simple. It's a really simple process, this one here. There's kind of trying to show people easy things so that they're not too scared of Blender. Probably this is not considered a really great way to do this, but this is the way we're going to do this anyhow. This is our base. It's going to be like, you know, one of those telephones with a display and a keypad and over here I'll put the area for the receiver. So I'm going to subdivide it a couple times. Yep. And then, yeah, we're going to leave it like that. So this set of squares here is going to hold the receiver. This set of squares here is going to be the main, and I'm going to put a display up top here. You may think this is a little vertex heavy, but I thought I would put a border around it to try and be a little bit fancy, so I'm going to leave these extra faces on that we don't need. Okay, so the first thing is to make this a bit longer. This is where our telephone's going to be. And this is where the main part is going to be, and up here I'm going to put my little display. I haven't made this telephone for a while. I can't remember how I made it the first time. Oh well, anyhow. So I'm just making everything a bit bigger to start with. Okay, so first thing I need to do, I'm going to, oops, that's wrong. This is not good. See, I'm not even sure what I'm doing with this. Loop, cut, and slide. I'm doing a couple here. And there we go. And one more up top. Because I'm going to extrude these down, E, down, because that's where the telephone's gonna go inside. Or you can do the other way and extrude this up, but that seems like a little extra too much work to me. So extrude downwards like this. Woohoo! And then here is the display. So we're gonna do one up. And then I'm going to rotate it. R. Oops. R, X. A little more maybe. R, X. That's where our display is gonna go. And this is these other squares here is gonna be kind of where our button pad is, but I'm gonna make that a little more later. What's next? Okay, I guess I'll do the button pad now. Cut and slide. Cut and slide. Our button pad. Extrude. This is where our buttons are gonna go. Inside there. Okay. So that's kind of the basic shape. It's 290 faces, which is not bad. I could have made it a little less, but I might want to give it have it a bit rounded. Now, we're gonna go into object mode. You can do it that way, or you can hit tab, and then we're gonna shift A. We're gonna add another cube. This is gonna be the handset, which is gonna be removable. So I'm gonna show you. This is gonna be done in a different method. Edit mode for this. Handset. Our handset is gonna be, we're gonna use mirroring. I just want to sort of set the basic size and shape up first. So here we go. Scale X down a bit, maybe like that. That's about right. Okay, so now we're going to delete. Let's go into local. I'm going to delete all these faces except for that one. X, delete faces. I'm going to leave local mode. So we've got one little tiny face left. Now we're going to go to add modifier and look for a mirror. And we want X. And go. And we're just going to move this all in like this. And go. Okay, so that's our receiver. Now I'm gonna do it this way because, well, I kind of want both ends of the receiver, you know, where you talk in to look the same. This is not a very complicated object. But anyways, so extrude it. Oops. Extrude. Y, a couple times, extrude Y, one more time, extrude Y, and back into global local, And this last one's kind of like this. It's going to be a receiver end. Now, I guess that's a little bit too fat for my liking, so I'm going to squinchel it some more. Squinchel is a very highly technical term. I'm a very highly technical person. Now, I'm going to turn connected. This is so I can move more parts of the phone. So there we go. There's our telephone, like the handle, you know, and on a real phone it's kind of a little bit more tilted in some places. So there we are. It's a little more tilted. Now I'm going to go back into local mode. I'm going to try and make the talking part now. So let me see as the scale is how bad it is. You can always fix it later. It's about right, I guess. So yeah, local. So here's our scale. Here's the area where we want to put our little talking piece. I'm not really fancy when I do stuff like this. I don't know. To me, it's kind of. I'm always worrying about making it too vertex heavy, even though I made the telephone part a little too heavy. And kind of wanted to leave that there so that we can make it a little bit more fancy later. Okay, so there's the earpiece, and they don't kind of. I'm gonna extrude it upwards just a little bit, and then I'm gonna kind of take it, and I'm gonna try and make it a little more circular. I don't know how to explain it. And kind of. Slanting it inwards a bit, because you know they're kind of so skew-if. So I'm not the most precise person sometimes. I actually haven't had to make anything geometrically perfect for a while. Anyhow, so that's my earpiece. I mean, I can make it round if I want, but I'm trying to not scare people off. I'm making it too complicated. There's our earpiece. It doesn't take too long. Scale it on Z axis. Ooh. So that'll fit there, you know. Hello, telephone, ring, pick it up. Ooh, talking. That's that. Okay, so back to this. I'm just gonna add a few embellishments, I guess you can call them, into edit mode. I left this here. Select edge loop, because I'm gonna make the phone a little bit, you know, I don't know, kind of how I put it, more roundy. Scale it X. Oops. So maybe too much, eh? I don't. That's what we want, more or less. Use it. Let's try and make it all kind of fancy-wancy, maybe. move it. A lot of people probably frown at my technique, but it's kind of more of a drawer than a mathematician. So it's gonna be not. But there we are. It works. Now, getting in object mode. See, it's kind of, that's more sort of, you want to call it smooth shading. Is a little more, you know, kind of organic, or you can do flat shading. But I guess smooth shading is kind of better for this one. So there's our basic phone thing. You can play around with this if you want. Connect it and make it a little bit bulgy. There we go. Anyhow, so that's that part. Now I'll take a look at this part. There's nothing real special about it. It's a simple object. Smooth shading. And we're happy more or less with our work there. So we're going to apply this modifier. So now we can't change it because it won't be symmetrical. I'm just going to clean up the center. Alt M. Where's that center? This is the seam. To get rid of a couple of vertexes. This should get rid of a couple vertexes. View, global, local. Go into local view so we can see it all. Alt M at center. Alt M at center. M at center. Alt M at center. Alt M at center. There we go. There's a face inside that you can get rid of if you want. H for hide. See 3 faces? That's from when we made it. We can delete those. Only faces. Oh, you can delete a couple edges too. So, X. Delete only edges. Alt H. And so then we have less vertexes on our receiver thingy. So back into global view. Now at this point I'm going to save this. Where did I have a telephone. I'm going to put it in there, even though it says telephone texture. Telephone. Okay, next part. We need to add materials. Now, I mean, I'm going to make a telephone. It's like the one sitting on my desk now. It's black. So we want one main material. And the way I'm doing it is, so each material is going to hold a different picture. There's only 3 materials, so it's not a big deal to do it that way. There's different ways to do it. You can map it out and put all the parts on one material, but I don't know. It's this way. If I don't know, for this particular object, it's probably just easier to do it this way. So we're in object mode, and I'm gonna do the base first. So add material. I'm gonna main phone, and just because I like colors, I'm gonna color it. And might as well give that one that too, even though they're two different objects. What I'm going to do now is move that to another layer. So I pressed M, and that's there, so that I can just play with this. I can press to both of them and they both exist. But since I'm making it two objects, because in the opensim I want my telephone so I can, you know, I don't know, maybe you want to have it in a dispenser so everybody's got their own little telephone handle they can play with, you know. That's the way opensim works. Anyhow, so we've got them all assigned. I always just press assign. Now I'm going to assign one other material here. This is the keypad. So add a material, keypad, and maybe I'll make it red just to tell the difference. And assign it. And I don't know what you call this, display. So I'm going to add another one. I'm going to call it display. And I'm going to make it blue because I like blue. So there we are. Assign blue display. So our object mode, that's all. I mean, this could be a lot more complicated, but I mean, it's just a telephone. So that's the way we're going to do it. So anyhow, now each telephone has a texture, so we need to do that next. So I'm just opening this. Here is a thing. We need to, well, we're going to make a UV map. Not hard. I'm going to just go Smart UV Project. Now this one has its own little map, so there we go. And that's in one, and here's another one. I don't know, I'm just going to stick this here. opensim is not going to care too much. Now I'm hiding these ones because although in two halves, I guess. So I'm going to put a seam. There's a bunch of different ways you can unwrap mesh map UV maps. But I think I'm just going to put a seam, and then I'll have a top and a bottom, or, you know, make it prettier. But when you see the texture, it's like I'm making like a plastic phone, you know, just a plain old plastic phone where you gotta, you know, it's this one sort of a little bit bumpy, so that's what I'm gonna do. So mark seam, there we go. Mesh, unwrap, and make it a little more, if you want, a little bit nicer. It's different ways, but I'm going to tell you, not necessary here. Very messy. This is a very messy UV map, but for this case, it's going to be fine. Now, we're working on main phone. We need image. I'm going to set this to UV map. Okay, telephone plastic base. 512, I guess we'll use that one. Look at all the pictures. I've got one is a little bit coarser than, let's try the coarser looking one, see how it looks. That goes there. Main phone. I'm gonna call it telephone plastic. And it's on the UV map. Check on the texture. You like it that chunky? You can see I want to scale it twice, a little less chunky. This is where you might want to fix it up a little bit. Maybe you don't like that there, so mesh. You can unwrap that separately. Try and get it on the illustrator. It's not bad. It's a little distorted. I'll unwrap that separately too. Anything else probably is not needing any. This one's not. It's a bit maybe an adjustment. Yeah, this is a bit icky here. Mesh, I'm not quite sure why I did that. I don't know. I like that better. I don't know, I like that better. You can see I'm playing with this map. I don't like that the same, so I think I'm going to erase them. So we're going to select it all. I'm going to clear scenes. Clear the scene. So let's try a different way to unwrap it. As you can see, meshes are transparent. They're only one-sided, so you gotta be careful. So let's try a different way to unwrap this. And this is being unscientific about this. Maybe this is helpful for people or not, I don't know, but there are different ways to play with it until you get the texture looking the way you want. This is how you play with it. So let's do it this way. We'll unwrap it from the top. So click unwrap. Control Z. Scale it. It's hard to say, eh? Hide that. Oh my god, where to go? Okay. And bottom. Yeah. Being dumb. Here. If you use B, it will you can capture more of this. You can press it again and get a circle thing. I don't like the circle thing. So, see, that's already pretty much unwrapped, but we'll unwrap it again. And then we'll hide it once you've done it. That's my method, and I might find a better method. These are the edges. Now this is kind of a quick and dirty UV mapping. But one thing at a time. There are other ways you can lay out a UV map, you know, so you can draw on it or whatever. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to save this, believe it or not, the way it is. Mesh UV unwrap. Scary. Should be on. Control Z. Okay, so those are the only parts left. So this one's okay the way it is. We'll unwrap it again. Mesh. Yeah. Smart, I guess. Use Smart UV Protect. Okay. We already unwrapped that, so we're not going to unwrap it again. I don't know whether this kind of tutorial is going to confuse people more or not. But this is kind of mesh UV unwrap. Okay, so we've unwrapped all the black stuff. Pad. There's our telephone. All ready to do the next part. Okay. Okay. So, keypad. Select our keypad. For some reason you need to click twice to get the picture part to come up. So we want our keypad. That one's flipped. Oh, I think I know why it's flipped. I used it in another thing. There we go. Keypad, keypad, keypad. Ooh, look at that. We're going to make it fit. In this case, scale it. That's about right. That keypad's too big for some people, probably. Scale it X. That's about the best we can do. Guess I could have imported the other keypad. Anyways, this one will do. Again, we made sure we clicked it onto the UV map. And then we want to select the display and we'll find a display. We want an image. We want to map it to our UV map eventually. Here we go, display, telephone display screen. I don't know why I have different ones. Do we like that one? I don't know. It's the one without a number on it. There's our display screen. Scale this up. Scale Y, scale it Y, scale it Y. Almost. Scale a little more. Scale on the Y-axis. Should be about right. And we've got a quick and dirty telephone. the black stuff is interfering here. Scale X a little bit. Should fit more or less. That's good. There's our telephone. Oh, look at that. I see. Okay, well, that's why I redid the texture. Well, I'm going to import that other texture on the main phone. I'm going to uncheck that. Telephone plastic base. To telephone plastic base 2. Okay, that's the right one. We'll do that. Select that. Telephone plastic base 2. Ah, yeah. So there, that's why I had two things. It's helping along how long I've been since I've done this particular one. Okay, so our telephone base is done. Now we're going to do the receiver, which is a second object, but it has no UV map yet. So we're gonna unwrap it. Now this one, I'm just gonna use Smart UV Unwrap. Smart UV Project. There we go. Okay, whatever. Anyhow. There's our main phone. That's done. That's all we're gonna do for that. Now we're gonna save our UV maps. Why you save? Because it's good practice. So we're gonna save it as a PNG. I always make them big. Receiver UV PNG. And back to this one. Now let's get it. We've got the whole thing. So we're gonna export it. Actually, I'm gonna export in 3 pieces. Select. Why pre-tell am I doing that? Just because maybe we want to play with it outside. Oops. 1024. Although the only thing I'd want to play with outside of Blender would be probably the keypad on the display. Phone base UV. And then I'm going to select the keypad, and we'll call it keypad UV. And then I'll select the display. Export UV layout. 1024. Display UV. Now this is a different. This is a the reason why I'm making the UV maps this way is because I've used photographs. So this is basic way you do it if you were just using photographs. There's other ways to do UV maps, which we can do another time. This is the way we're going to do this one. Anyhow, we've got this all saved. Saved our telephone. Okay, next piece. We are going to prepare this to go into opensim. So you have to install the script that allows you to export as CLADA format. Now there's a bit of a weirdness that I found out, is that for some reason it doesn't always put the DAE on it, even though it is supposed to. Maybe it's because I changed the names, I don't know. Anyhow, telephone base.dae. So I'm going to type it in manually because the texture doesn't do it for me. The script doesn't do it for me for some reason. Okay, and then we're going to do the receiver. There's our receiver. 80 vertexes, so it's not a horribly vertex heavy thing. You can see the information. 78 vertexes. Okay. Anyhow, so now we're going to export that. Export it as a DAE. Export selected. Receiver.dae. Export. I'm going to save this again. Maybe. Let me look at the... Okay. File, save. Blender file. Okay, so next we got to go into opensim. So here we are in opensim. And I have... There we go. That's better. Now I can walk. So we're going to upload. So build, I'm using the newest Firestorm viewer now. Just started playing with it yesterday. And it seems a whole lot better than it used to be. As far as actually, not crashing, actually importing it. So here's our telephone. And I'm going to display the textures. Look at that. See, it's all textured everything. Isn't that cool? I'm going to call it telephone base. Choose one. Small, non-moving object. Now we need to worry about physics. There we go. I didn't make physics for it, so we're importing it. Is it good enough? Should be fine. So let's hope it all works out and we don't crash. There we go. Telephone base. Look at that. Ooh. Ah, no textures. Okay. That's fine, because we'll import them. Upload image. Telephone texture. Which one did we use? We use that one. Upload. There we go. Ta-da! Or maybe that's not the right one. We'll find out in a minute, won't we? Keypad. Oh my gosh, I can't remember which ones we used. Telephone, keypad, picture 2. I think that's the one we used. It's not right. Upload image. telephone plastic base 2512. Oh yeah, that one's blacker. And then we want to add our screen thingy. Yeah, that's what I called it. Oh, if I can find the right one. Screen thingy. There we go. That just hopefully is the right one. There we go. A little big, eh? Upload our mesh for our receiver. So we'll get to call it a receiver. To the non-model, look at the textures, although it doesn't seem to. Oh, I know why I didn't upload the textures. I didn't tell it to. Include textures. How about that? So physics detail low, upload, calculate weights. Let's see if it imports the texture. And yes, it does. Look at that. So that's what I forgot to do the first time around. I'm a little rusty. I haven't made a mesh object in opensim for a while because I've been playing with other software. There we are. I guess I should make it the right size. So I'm going to link it temporarily and scale it down. Stretch it. There is our telephone. Still too big. Ooh. Level of detail. Did that because it's not enough, a lot of vertexes, so don't get too far away from it or it's gonna be distorted. That's me worrying about game engines. Anyhow, there's a basic telephone. Not a whole lot complicated. It's not the best, most fancy telephone in the world, but this is about learning the principles behind it. So, as you can see, that's not very hard. Not enough vertexes. I made my Model 2 vertex unheavy. It's distorted. Anyhow. So thank you for watching this little tutorial. Hopefully you learned something, like how to make yourself a nice telephone. See you next time. Bye-bye.